Thank you. Yes, everything I do adds to my influencer status. Every little thing I do. Turn the music down a little bit. Potato. I would think there's probably people in here from that space because I told everybody to come here. Now you can see what I look like. Okay. Here's a question. I will pose this. I'll pose this to the chat. Here's a question. Could maybe Chrissy's in here? Could someone learn the basics of JavaScript in 24 hours? I was doing a Twitter space. Yes or no? I'm not making fun of you. It's a legitimate question. I think it comes down to, do you know another coding language or not? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Do you already know another coding language? Yeah. If you already know another coding language, are you going to be awake for the whole 24 hours? So yeah, are you doing like a test or something? You're always trying to do like some I get it. Let's gamify it. So the main things you need to know for JavaScript are the syntax is really kind of funky. JavaScript has some funky syntax compared to other languages. Like I've peeped Python. I've peeped what have I peeped at? That's it. Somebody showed me a thing in Go. Oh, that's a good question. What do you consider the basics? Because, like, oh yeah. 24 hours? Wait, you're thinking of quitting a job? Okay. Well. Okay. Yeah. If you do like a side by side, I think Python is like way more readable. Like JavaScript is more. Ian, hey. See. We just got started. So we're answering a question. I wish there was like a Google Translate for code. Is there like a Google Translate for code? Like if we want to look at, so does like a for loop have like, can you do like a side by side of a for loop? Because I think the loops. So building a API, someone built an API in Python for the first time in our program. She was talking about it in the Discord, and she was like, "Wow, it's so much easier in Python." And I was like, "Yeah, because I feel like there's just less symbols. Like the syntax is more straightforward." So I think there's a little bit of like syntactical. You'd have to learn some syntax, but I think that would be the major thing. It's like grammar. All right. Well, what are we gonna? How are we gonna Google it? Is this gonna show me? What's up, Moonpixel? Welcome in. But okay, is it just is that gonna show me? I want to see like side by side. I want to see like on one side. See, Ian. I feel like Ian had. Oh. Ian has all these like tips and tricks. Oh yeah, see, it's way more, like I said, symbols. While loop, yeah. So, JavaScript's so flexy. Create a procedure. Oh, the dog is all over the place today. Alternative. Yeah, I kind of like that, but I've been told over and over and over again, it's like learn JavaScript really good. This is so hard. And then when you learn Python, you'll feel like it's like drinking a glass of ice water. It's just like taking a bath. Yeah. Here, all you need is this website. We just use more symbols. Because I am the I am the ambassador. Although, if anybody ever wants to, if you tweet at JavaScript, at least for a while, anybody was like tweeting at JavaScript, like the account would reply to them, and they were super cute and funny. I've heard funny things about PyScript. Is that JavaScript? No, TypeScript wrapped in Python. Well, Python looks so much easier. Oh no. This is cool though. This page also looks like it would be nice for reference for data structures. Cause look, where I saw a tree data structure, the depth first traversing a binary tree. Parallelize whatever. So do you have to do a project or take a test, or are you just trying to decide if you want to do it or not? Currying. I've been trying to pass some things to a URL and then hide it in the background and then return a URL for a customer to use. That sounds annoying. Like an API URL. I don't even know how you have time to have two jobs. Pass some things to our URL, like you have ID or like like information. Seems like something you could test with Postman. Okay, okay. It's like, I'm telling you, Ian knows all these tricks. New URL. Put the thing in the thing. Then you get the thing. There it is. You're done. No. I didn't know how to do that. But just a good location search. So that tells you where the thing is. And then you do the constant, which grabs that thing and puts it in the URL. You're creating a string out of it. Why would you want to? Oh, because you want to return a URL. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I think everybody's cranky about PHP. I've talked to probably 50, 60 people who currently work in tech, and I've only met one person who seems to like it. Yeah, talk to Ian. Okay, I thought that's two. I guess that's two people. I was like, were we talking about pho? Everybody likes pho. That's not controversial. Okay, hold on, where is it? I was just on a Twitter space. It was about, is money as a motivator? Are you motivated by money? I admit that I am motivated by money right now because there were things in my life that I thought I was gonna get those things without a lot of money, and then the entire economy changed like 3 times in my young life, and now yeah, can't just do whatever. So I just want to make a poll. Wait, I already forgot this. Oh. Okay, here's the question of the day, everybody. So sorry, that was awful. I'm sure that was terrible. So sorry. Question of the day. Okie dokie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of you were on the call, but I feel like some of the folks that spoke, one person in particular was speaking from a place of privilege, and that's okay. I mean, it's okay. But, you know, I do like it when people acknowledge their privilege when they speak, and I don't know that that person necessarily did, so, you know. Well, anyway, I love this website, so thank you, Ian, for sharing that with us, because it actually teaches me nothing at this point in time, but at the eventual moment in which I need to learn some Python, I think I will find it very, 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 very helpful. Well, very much like at the top. I've been told by the MDN to never use document.write, but the fact that it's like console log versus print. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. What are we doing it? We're like console log versus print. Yeah. Which, yeah, just gonna keep saying yeah, because I'm agreeing with all of you on all counts. I don't know how this loop works. I'll have to think about that more. Once you understand the loop, but these loops do different things. Like, how can they all be under here? How can they all be under there? Yeah. I mean, as long as you keep track, as long as you all keep talking and saying things that are generally agreeable, I'll keep agreeing with you. Oh, okay. It's just like a very simple print this thing. Okay. There's so many examples in here. I just got overwhelmed. I was like, how could we? How could? I couldn't even read it. Yeah, I couldn't read it. Oh. Wait. Can I turn it off? Oh, it's at the top. Just learning how to use it. I'm not looking at the chat. There it is. This is amazing. This is exactly what I wanted. It's not gonna teach me anything though. Alright. So I've been looking at some job descriptions. No, I mean this is just madness. Like, what is that? These are more comparable. I don't like this syntax. I don't like that syntax. Yeah, no, this is a lot. That's a lot. That's great. That's cool. I saw something in Go where there's like runes, and I everybody. Well, how many times did you vote for pho? Nobody voted for PHP. Okay. Okay, alright, we'll see you later. It says nobody voted for it. And I don't believe you. I don't believe you that you prefer PHP to pho. I think, well, maybe you don't. You haven't had pho. Well then, I mean, how is it a fair question? Is it not a fair question? What is it? Excuse me. Alright, so I have come to the point in this stream for the first time today where I am on a page looking at a thing that is nothing related to what I said I was going to stream about. but I'm so curious about them. Who said runes? You would like to know about pho? It's a Vietnamese pho soup. It's a Vietnamese noodle soup. It is. Oh, why? Why did you say that? Oh, well, I guess the best use for pho is when you have a cold. It's very restorative. This is just madness. This is madness. Forget about it. Alright. Okay. Alright. I guess I just don't even... It's good. It's good. How do you know all of these things? How do you know all of these things? When will I know all of these things? Oh. Okay. What I learned is that, I was saying something about, looking at job descriptions. So you get job descriptions for full stack jobs, and most of them do, that I've looked at, do call for React. And then on the back end, it's just, you never know. It's just, you just never know. Like, it's anything from Ruby on Rails to go to Java, PHP. Like, it's just, it's a mixed bag. People are just doing whatever they want on the back end. I think Leon is smart to teach JavaScript because it teaches you how a programming language works, and then you just, if you do backend, you're gonna have to learn something. But if you go deep on something, yeah. What is it that the Primogen always says? It's like time in the saddle. Yeah. I know we've had this conversation before, but I am only seeing React jobs. Maybe I'm biased and I just don't see the ones. I just literally don't see them if they're not React, but... Or maybe it says like React, React Native, or other similar front-end framework or library. Anyway. I love this site. This makes sense to me, and Chrissy, I'm sure you can figure it out. It's gonna be fine. What is this? What were we doing? Oh, right, we were trying to find that. This is from last time. Okay, so I was gonna do a couple bank questions, and then I was going to do my presentation on Model View Controller, and then I was going to talk about restructuring the website I was working on into the MVC architecture so that I can add different things to it and make it more modular. That's what I want to do. I want to make it more modular. Modulation. It's a different word, I know. Okay. I have this like super old WeWork shirt. I just want you all to know I don't stand WeWork. I don't give them any money. It was given to my partner and I wear it because it's comfortable. Oh, wow. JavaScript. Okay. Are there cons to using promises? I don't believe that there are cons to using promises. I don't believe it. Does anybody, would you have to use Babel? I don't believe in polyfills either. Someone was talking about like older code bases and how you would have to like use different, let's see, Babel is like a compiler. There's another question in here about like AMD. Let's see if I can find it. They have a list of them. Yeah, okay. This one. AMD versus CommonJS, but I feel like Babel is more commonly used now. But I think, oh, I keep losing my spot. Okay, FizzBuzz. Yeah. Okay. What I really want to do is be done with all these questions. There's so many questions. I'm on page. How many pages were there originally? I wish they were numbered. Oh god. Okay. I have to look up all these things. Node questions. How are these not JavaScript general questions? Alright, fine. So the pros and cons of using promises instead of callbacks. Just getting organized. So this is what I've experienced. If you write it with callbacks, it's super hard to read. Also, nobody writes things like that anymore because it's super hard to read. Does everybody know what callback hell is? Nobody wants to call back hell. But I think even more than promises, like straight up promises, most what we say, modern current up to date people writing JavaScript are going to be using async await. So it's like we went callbacks, and then we were like, oh, let's make callbacks a little bit better with like the try catch. And then it was like, oh hey, try catch, that's fine, we can do that, but you know what would be even better, prettier, more syntactically sugary? Async await. It's beautiful, it's fantastic. Yes, it's No, Ian, I always like other people's brains, and I feel like you've done sort of a lot of interviews and interviewing because you do a whole Twitch stream on it. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say that. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. So to say that nobody does that anymore is not correct, but I think that the implication is we have better tools now. There's more. There's clearer ways to write code. Is that fair to say? Easier to read ways to write code. More legible ways to write it. Explain why, what, which one? It is, it is, it is primarily, well, callbacks still work. You can write, it's almost like you can still write callbacks the way that they were originally designed. It's just, it looks like, it looks like a mess. It looks like a mess because you just have to kind of like nest things inside of things, and they actually call it the callback hell, or what's it called? The callback something of doom. Pyramid. It's a callback pyramid of doom, because it kind of like goes. I have to go like, it goes kind of like all the way out this way, and then you get to the end of that. Would be better. I don't think there is one. See, this is what it says. It's like debatable that it's more complex. The complexity is in that, like, if you don't know how promises work, if you don't know how the syntax is written, you wouldn't know how to read, like, understand it, I think. And then this is, we're getting ever and ever closer to a space where we don't even need this consideration. Like, when does IE 7 stop working? But I know, as Ian said, there's spaces where, oh, I'm just trying to find this. See what my friend Curtis said. Ah, is that in the answer too? I've not seen this used. Promises, these scenarios are which are present in callbacks. Only coding will not happen. I guess, is it evolving, or are there people actively working to make these languages work more efficiently? Because ES6, I'm just trying to find this question. Yeah, man. answered about arrow questions. Yeah, here it is. I mean, if it works, it works. It's just a set of instructions, right? It's when the instructions are interacting with, like, I think it comes down to something like the analogy of like tide rising, right? So if the tide is rising and your ship is like moored to the deck down here, and it can't go up any higher, so your ship is like this, your ship is SOL. But if the ships are all just kind of like going up together because you're updating your code, that's fine. So if old code is not, if the pieces fit and it still works, that's fine. But if the things start to not work, then that's a problem. I get it. I hear you. I hear you. Well, I wouldn't say that. I will try not to say that. I'll try to be better about generalizations. I think that's one of my weaknesses. Not a weakness that I would admit to in an interview of like what are your biggest weaknesses, but like a weakness in my interviewing is that I'm not as good at being specific when I need to be. So that just takes practice, I think. Okay, what were you saying, Ian, about callback events aren't as good for asynchronous code that needs to do a lot of things in parallel? Yeah, so promises make it easier to write parallel asynchronous code. Promise all. So I was just saying I don't think I've made a promise all. I don't think I've written anything like that before, but I think maybe I've done it with like async await. Curious about this list of questions because sort of tangential to what Chrissy was saying. It's like there's new problems that aren't in the bank that I could probably be asked about. Turbo. Alright. Well, let's see what we got here. So sorry. Pros improves readability of code. And then the then I think I'll just grab that and it's not gonna be good formatting, but it never is, honestly. Yeah, that's what they all say. I'm not really sure about cons, so can I say that the cons are like I'm really curious though. Are there any browsers that are still usable that don't support promises? Curtis. Yeah, I don't think this is a real. I don't think this is a real. I don't think there's any cons to using promises. Are there any cons to using promises? Maybe the con is that you should be using async await instead. Yeah, look at that. What are you developing? Apps? Does anybody use the Brave browser? Oh, there's also a second follow-up question. Does anybody use Edge? Okay, do you like the Brave browser? I know Google's always listening, but I think I might be done. I think I might be done. I think I might need to leave. It might be time. Crystal's telling me my mic is quiet today. Is my mic quiet today? It's all based on it, but is the security better? I love Firefox. I use Firefox on my other Mac. But is okay, if I'm gonna get used to another browser, I here. This is not even the plan for today. We're just gonna turn it off. Plans for today, none. I can't even look at the tomato. All right, so here I have questions. Question number 1, security. Security. Firefox does okay in security, but there are some things with Firefox that are annoying with, like, the web, the when you want to inspect, the inspector in Firefox pops out. It doesn't stay in. Like, does that work on Brave? Like, where does the inspector go? The console. It's like somewhere else. What are we doing? Why is it over there? That annoys me a little bit. Chrome plugins. There's some Chrome plugins I really like, and when I put them on Firefox, they don't work the same. That's just me being, that's a first world problem. That's me being whiny. What do we think about, so MDN, Firefox, like Mozilla has a corner and that, but then why is the inspector so annoying? There was something else about it, like cross machine compatibility, like, so I can have things on the one Mac and then I can open them on the other Mac. Like, that's just a Google thing. Like, that's Google ecosystem. Like, I'm not gonna get that Am I gonna get that with Brave? Does Brave do that? I don't even know if Firefox does that. I think that they do. I didn't install Firefox on here. Safari annoys the snot out of me on my iPhone, and it refuses to help me fix that one issue with my Morse code app. So is there plugin support on Brave then? Chromium. Just gonna grumble about Chromium for a minute. Grumble. Okay. All right. 50 minutes in, I've done one question. Oh God. Okay. It's good. It's great. It's going good. It's going super well. Okay. Okay. All right. This is the only one I've heard of. Oh, I have heard of Elm, but I don't know what it does. What is coffee? What is coffee? Do people shorten that to coffee? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Do people... I love that. Is this what it says? I'm not saying that in an interview. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I didn't even spell it right. Wow. Wow. Sorry, CoffeeScript. Okay, well. What are we calling them? So do they compile to JavaScript? Elm Lang interop. Ooh, I like that. That's fun. Don't let me on the internet by myself. Fancy and useless. But like, who cares about utility, right? Alright. So, What is this? What is this supposed to be? I mean, this landing page is sweet. I like it. What does it do? Clock is accurate.
Well, here's the sleep shop's answer.
It's got a model. I mean, I don't really know what this is. It's cute. It's. What does it do? Helps you make websites and web apps. Teach you the fundamentals. Okay. Alright, I don't know why I would use this. It seems like maybe it's like a nice way to build small things that's sort of encapsulated. Yeah, right? It's like, well, you know, here's how to build a button. Which is nice. Okay, so here's the way to build things. But I want to see, like, a use case. Yeah, a use case. It's real cute. So basically, the way I'm understanding this is like, we got Elm, and it's simpler than JavaScript. So if you learn Elm, and you put it on top of JavaScript will like operate down here, and you're up here learning Elm, which is easier to learn than JavaScript. So you can do fancy JavaScript things, but you're doing like less complicated coding. Is that kind of what it does? It compiles to JavaScript, but you're simple. Yeah, okay. Why is it in the same boat as TypeScript? Uh-huh. Seems a little bit dangerous, honestly. Oh, I'm supposed to just like, what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages are like, these languages will always be behind the latest JavaScript standard. Interesting. Yeah. Are there There have to be limitations, right? There, okay. So, you know, if you have vanilla JavaScript, or even a more robust library that you're working with, you can do things that are more, that are bigger, I guess, is what I think. But I can see for something that's a little bit more, it's always like a shortcut. It could be a very specific idea of what you want to build, and you'd have to learn Elm though. I mean, it may be like 48 hours you could learn it, and I would only learn it if somebody was paying me to learn it. That's my final answer. Alright. Why did he include CoffeeScript? I don't know. Yeah. Also, just as a matter of pride, if I put all this work into learning JavaScript, why would I do that to myself? Unless it was like really, really making my, yeah, you know, you're totally right, Ian. I'm like, some of these questions need to upgrade. I've been saying that. I'm gonna clean my camera. I've been saying that for weeks. Weeks. Probably 2 months now. I'm taking CoffeeScript out of there. TypeScript is so popular though now, and the reason for that, at least according to me, is because it makes your code more. It makes it more. It's safe. It's harder to break it. Typed, strongly typed. It makes a loosely typed language strongly typed. I hear you. I hear you. I promise that I hear you. I won't do it anymore. I'm going to take this out of there and put Elm in there. Alright, it's like very cute. I think that back to job postings, I see asked for next to React is TypeScript. It's like for full stack, it's like TypeScript, React, React Native on the front end, and then, you know, the rest of them are in stack like Node, Express. The database will be different just depending on the place. A lot of places want you to know how to use AWS, like most places really. If it's a big place, they want to use AWS, but like MongoDB is still in there. I haven't seen Firebase or Firestore on a job description yet, but I'm sure I will. And then back end is just, who knows what they build their code base in if it's not JavaScript. But like I said, if you really want to be a full stack dev, like you can learn, oh my gosh, you can learn back end. Having a great time. Another language to learn, so requires. Alright. I'm gonna take a little break. Learned to use the debugger a little while ago. Can't say that I actually knew what was happening, but that's tricky. Okay, I'm going to take a little stretch break. I'm already standing, but I'm gonna walk around for a second. I'll be back in a couple minutes. And then I'm gonna talk through my MVC homework. And I'm gonna look at this project. Okay. my goodness. Ernest is losing his wacky little mind today. Wacky little Ernest mind. Does anybody else have a dog? Does this do like... Oh my gosh. Ernest. Ernest, come here. Come here. Come here. Are you okay? The minute he like perceives that there's a camera on him, he's like, do not put me on camera. And he like turns into a little ghost. Okay. Oh yeah, you can't pick your dog up. Well, Ernest has been just, I don't know, on it today. He always looks shell-shocked. Okay. It's like, both of you are purple, and it's too much purple. Too much. I was gonna add another Twitch emote. I was gonna make a pumpkin, and then I couldn't get the shape right. It's annoying me. But hopefully soon, definitely in time for the fall holiday. Okay, so this next part is going to be probably very boring for all of you, but I am going to do my lecture on what is MVC, so that I have a recording of it. And you could chat about it and tell me if I missed anything, but I'm probably not going to change it, so. So what is MVC, and why do we need it? Why do we need MVC at all? Why do we need architecture for our projects? I'm so glad you asked. I haven't done this before. I'm just gonna. Oh, it's not gonna work like that. Work like that. Come on. What is MVC? MVC stands for Model View Controller, and it's our first introduction in 100 devs to comprehensive site architecture. And then on the left, my right, your left, my right. It's actually both of our rights of the screen. This is an example of architecture. Prior to MVC, we've pretty much just been putting things into files like public and view, but we haven't had a way to organize the rest of our site. And so when somebody tries to work on sites together, you can have a lot of issues, and it's easy to break things. And if you want to change things on your site, you might break it. So let's go through the M, the V, and the C. What is the model? Well, the model is sort of an interesting place to start. Oh, my head is a little bit tall for this. Wonder if it's easy to move it. Can I move the whole thing? No, that's... Well, I'll tell you what's under my head. Model is a part of your code that talks to the database. Okay, so if you think about it as a way to organize your code, this is the recipe. The model tells the database how to organize things when you send it in, and it also organizes them back when it comes back to the website or the app that you're getting it from. It also tells it how to store the data, if it's like the type of data, so the string or number, Boolean, and it puts it into the correct form of JSON data. It manipulates it and sends it back to the database. It also uses that information to render it correctly. It's just like a recipe. Remember that. What is a view? Okay, the V, the MVC, the V in the middle. The view is the part of the program that interacts with the user. This is what it looks like. View looks like. The view displays the information from the model and the UX and the UI. Ooh, a design pattern. Architecture, design pattern. Don't distract me, Ian. The view, it includes the visual site structure and the design files. So this is where we'll see our CSS, our EJS, our handlebars, like any of the templating of the HTML, the things that come out from your site into the real world and lets the user interact with them. It receives input for the user, sends it to the controller for processing, and vice versa. So this is the face of your site. The face. And what is the controller? The controller, in a lot of ways, is the brains of the operation. It's the interpreter of the user actions, tells it which routes to take, and then it receives the responses from the model and sends them up to the view. It sends commands to the model and updates state based on the user input. Everything goes through the controller. It's in control. It acts as a communication hub between the view and the model and makes sure everything is updated. We like it. It's great. We need all three of these things to make a site work correctly. And realistically, you've had them all before, but you didn't know it. They weren't separated. So let's look at an analogy. Think about ordering food in a restaurant. You're a user. You come into the restaurant. You're like, you know what I need? A sandwich. The view is not only the food, so eventually you'll get the sandwich, hopefully. But it's also the menu, like the thing you're interacting with to decide which sandwiches there are, which one you want to choose. It's also the way that the sandwich looks when you get it, how it tastes. Like it's everything you're interacting with. And then the conversation with the waitstaff. Speaking of the waitstaff, they're the controller. They're the one that's interpreting what you want, asking you follow-up information. They're communicating between you and the kitchen. They're the ones that go in between. The model is the kitchen. The kitchen has the recipes. The kitchen is making things happen. It's great. We love it. We're going to walk through it real quick. So, you, the user, make a request to the waiter, the controller, by way of the menu, the view. The waiter, who's the controller, takes your order to the kitchen, who's the model, and waits for a response. The kitchen has this very specific recipe, which is the schema. We'll get to that later, of how your order will be prepared and returned. It whips up your request and returns it to the waiter. The controller. Everything goes through the controller. You're not going to go walk to the kitchen and get what you want. Some places you can, but not in this restaurant. The controller serves you what you ordered through the view. Success. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Okay, we love that. We've got a few more questions we need to answer about MVC though, before we leave it and go on to actually using it somewhere in the world. How is this different than having a server.js file, public folder, and a views folder? Why do we really need MVC? What are the advantages and disadvantages of this type of design pattern? And what was that about a recipe slash schema for how our data is displayed? Oh, these are all great questions. These are great questions. What may seem like an abrupt turn of events? Let's talk about NYC water towers. Well, this is an analogy for why we do need to divide things up. In New York City, well, most municipalities in the United States, there's one large water tower. And at the end of the day, or whenever there's a low pressure of water, they open it up and the water flows. There's one source of water, that's where the water comes from. When they need more water, they pump it up into the water tower, and that's where they store it. Generally, that works okay. But that's where the water tower is. Everything goes through there. If you need to fix the water tower, or fix the city water, it's going through there. If that water gets contaminated, the whole city's water is at risk. If the population grows, everybody has less access to water until you build a new water tower. As you can see, there are some issues with having everything centralized into one water tower or one file. However, in New York City, which, let's be real, is gigantic, there's 15,000 water towers. 15,000. New York knew they needed a water tower system that would scale, so they made sure their city would have a distributed water source. You know, in movies, people are always trying to get at their water, right? So if one water tower breaks, there's dozens of others dotted around. Maybe you can't get the water in your house specifically, but you can go down the street and get water from somebody else, right? Supervillain cannot take down the NYC water system in one fell swoop. Like the water towers in New York City, MVC gives developers flexibility, security, and scalability that they would not have in a consolidated model. To put it in a more visual context, if you have one file directing everything, you got some problems. You could have problems. It could work fine, but you could have problems. But if you have many routes to many controllers, then you have the opportunity to maybe page one, you need to fix it. You could take something down over here. That's not going to affect your about route or your home route. And it's not going to affect how things are going into the model from these two routes. It's really nice to have things distributed. All right, cool. So let's talk about advantages. Advantages of this type of architecture is that it's easy to scale a project and maintain code. You can work with other people to test and tweak individual components without affecting the user. So say you work at a large company and there's different parts of your product. You can take one part down for a couple of hours, but the whole system isn't going to break. And you can develop and swap out components using the technology seamlessly. So let's say, for example, you've been using React for a while, but you want to put Angular on the front end. Well, you could build a whole Angular front end and then swap it out. I don't know if that would work really easily, but you would have the opportunity to test it in your model before you swap it out, because you're not going to break anything in the code base by testing things. There's an opportunity to have the things hooked up to themselves without running them. It's the clearest way of saying that, but you can swap things out. It avoids needless complexity. So there's a division between these three components that is easy to follow once you learn it. It works well with large teams because everybody can be working on a different part. It's a clean separation of concerns, which is nice. So you know you're going to see views in the views. You know you're going to see models in the model. Routes and objects are separate from each other, so they can be tested cleanly. That's really nice. I've already noticed this working at MVC, is that I can follow a route to its obvious conclusion, and I don't need to wonder where things went. and it allows for logical grouping of related actions together on the controller. So if you have a long list of actions in your controller files, you can group them together, and it makes it easier to find things. Whereas if they were all in a server.js file, that file is like, 300, 400, 500 lines of code. It would be much harder to find things in that example. Yeah, like all things, there are some disadvantages. It can take time to adjust this level of abstraction. If you've gone from much simpler projects to an MVC framework, it takes a little bit of time to get used to it. You really need to make... I went backwards. You really need to make sure that you're focused to keep it dry. That means don't repeat yourself. Knowledge of multiple technologies. You do need to know a lot of things before you start building websites and apps this way. But even with these disadvantages, it's much preferred to less sophisticated frameworks, or the lack of a framework, which is obviously the alternative in this case. All right, now let's step through some examples. So we got the home route. We're gonna start with the user. They're gonna put in the URL for the website. That URL is gonna go to the router. The router's gonna say, hey, controller, show me the home page. Oh my gosh, sorry. The controller's gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, let me grab it. It's gonna render it from the views. Don't need to grab it from the model or the database because it's just the view. And then they're gonna send it back to the user. Heck yeah, rascal. So pretty easy. Let's see what it looks like. The home route is just a backslash. We got this nice little variable, home route. The router is called in the constant, hey rat. and that's how you know how to get to the right route. So it exports the router. Everybody's connected in server.js. It can be a little confusing at first why you still need a server.js, but that's the starting point to get everybody on the same boat. I said boat like a Canadian. Sorry, Ian, if you're still here. Alright. So within the home.js file, we can see that there is only one get option at the backslash, which is the home route, and then that's what we were asking the controller to do. So the user request reaches the controller file for home.js. The only job for it to do is to render the index.js, my bad. So the response to render the page is sent back to the browser. The user's just hanging out waiting for it, just milliseconds. And then the user can see the home page. It renders, everybody's happy. Hey, that's the home route. Not too bad. Okay. So we're almost done. Everybody be cool. Be cool. The to-dos route, a little more complicated. We're following some Leon code, so it shouldn't be too bad. All right, so we're gonna walk through it on here first. This user, it's a to-do list app. They want to create a to-do. So what they do is they push create to-do. That tells the router to fire up the to-dos route. The to-dos route tells the controller, hey, we want to create a to-do. The controller says to the model, yo, we need to create a to-do with the to-do JS schema. Oh no, what's a schema? All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so they call the database. They're like, hey, we're going to do this. And the database is like, I got you. Just give me the schema. We'll do it. Okay, then they send it back to the model. The model's like, all right, tell the controller, we got this to do. It's happening. It's in the database. Show the user. The controller's like, all right, I'm going to show the user. We're going to render it. The controller tells the view, render the to-do. We've got it. It's in the database. Show the user. So then the view sends it to the user. new to-do item. What does it do? Refreshes the page, and there it is. There it is. All right, a little bit slower this time. So, similar to the home route, we got the user taking an action in the browser. They click submit. They want to add a new to-do. We've got the router connected to this post route. Create to-do. That makes sense. They take the post request, communicate it to the model. Here comes the schema. Everybody's excited. We've been to talk about schema for a minute. So before MVC, we weren't using anything with MongoDB. So MongoDB was just like freewheeling it. MongoDB was just like taking anything we would give it. But we need a little bit more structure. So if we wanted to have duplicates of anything, it would get overwritten. And we can't have that. We can't have that. We need more structure. We want to make applications that can be more robust and do cooler things. So we set up a schema. Mongoose is something that we use for schemas. I haven't researched other things you can use for it, because Mongoose and MongoDB work together like best friends. But here's our recipe. So you set up the schema, which basically is like setting up JSON objects as like, this is what I want the keys, the object literals to look like. You know, this is what it's going to be, and this is what the type is going to be. And then, you know, basically when things come in from the user, they'll fit into those recipes, basically. It's awesome because then you don't have to worry about things being overwritten, and you also don't have to worry about things being the wrong type, and you also don't have to worry about them being weird. I always worry about things being weird, so if this will help things not be weird, then winner, winner, chicken dinner. So we have MVC, MongoDB, and Mongoose working for us in this part of this what is it? The walkthrough. So we've got our schema on the to-do route, and that's the model. The model talks to the database. The database updates with the information from the user in the shape of the schema, and then redirects with that updated list. So we pull back the to-dos that there might have already been to-dos in there, but we want to add the new one, and then it redirects to our to-dos.ejs. And we're going to render that in the DOM, send it to the user, have them be like, hell yeah, look at my to-do list, all in a matter of milliseconds. All right. Whew. Now that was a trip. That was a trip. So let's review. MVC stands for Model View Controller as a form of app architecture, or strictly speaking, design pattern. We love it. We love it. We love help. It enables teams to work on large projects seamlessly, test without breaking production, and swap out technologies if needed. Perfect time to burp. The view is a visual instructional interface with the user. The controller is the brains, directing traffic, and the model is where the recipe is held for the database organization. All told, MVC helps us create better, more creative, and more secure applications. The end. Thank you for coming to my presentation on MVC. I hope you enjoyed it. It's less funny than most things I usually do, but that's that. Alright. I'm gonna highlight that and send it to Leon. Have you ever had trouble with or without? Have you ever had trouble with this or that? Let me tell you about MVC. I guess my question is like, aren't most people using this? I make the assumption that anybody who's coding or is already doing this, like, no. Nobody needs to listen to this. You too could join almost every developer on the planet and use this design structure. Have you had trouble with losing files, breaking things, and having trouble working with your friends? Maybe you need MVC. Okay. Here's a follow-up question. Is pretty much every library or framework just becomes like modularized, right? So look at the fish is like bouncing. That's so cute. It's a modular framework, right? So like using React is modularized. Kombucha Code coming in with a welcome first time chatter. I'm here for the generous statements. Welcome. I have made one gigantic JavaScript file and wish I could make it easier to read, honestly. I mean, okay, like, are there any teams that work together seamlessly? I do appreciate the feedback, everyone. I don't believe I will ever be doing this presentation again, though. But I did it once. Yeah, so what was I thinking is, this project, it's gotten me into a lot of, it hasn't gotten me into trouble. It's gotten me into a lot of interesting conversations. Sorry. I want to rebuild it with MVC. So I think the first thing I need to do is figure out how to... Oh, Rascal, you're coming here with the foxes. The foxes. Let's see, what? Also, welcome, Geico Gaming. We're first time chatter. Welcome. Also, what do you use? That doesn't sound fun. Sorry. And what kind of languages is it built in? Rascal, I had a follow-up question for you. Yeah, no. Yeah. Same kombucha. Anyway, so I was thinking, okay, what do I need to do to change this I think I've been talking too much. I had a Twitter space before this, and I was like, talk. And then I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Stream for 2 hours after that. Oh yeah. That sounds hard. That sounds... I don't want to have like... I don't want to make like broad sweeping oh. That okay. Interesting. I would have to think about how that would look. Well, anyway, I want to think about it. And I probably won't come to any conclusions that will help me. But yeah, I won't make any broad sweeping statements about Microsoft. But I do know a couple people who work for like more conservative financial institutions, and some of those code bases may never be updated, honestly. But wait, when I asked this question earlier, like when does Internet Explorer 7 stop working? Or Internet Explorer just like stop working completely? Like whenever that stops, they might update things. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm trying to think through the best process for taking this application and reworking it into a modular project, because I would like to add another I'd like to add OAuth to it, and I would also like to add a couple filters to make it a little bit more nimble for the viewer. Yeah. Geico, that sounds like... I mean, I hope you're paid well. It doesn't sound fun. I'm sorry. I guess it's one of those things where like once you understand the code base and you know what's going on, like maybe it's worth it to stay and you know, be part of the team. Yeah. Like once you know what's going on, like they can't get rid of you. They can't lose that. Yeah. So the first thing I need to do is if I'm going to, maybe you all know this, maybe you don't. So I feel like we have an interesting mix of who is coding with what in the chat. But do I need to, if I'm gonna add a schema after the fact, do I need to export my MongoDB data? That's my big question right now. And is there an easy way to do that? I kind of feel like it's a little bit choppy. I was researching it earlier. I mean, no one should make things difficult to export, but... Sometimes people just do, and that's something else. So I don't want to terminate. Browse collections. Don't want that one. So I can filter here. Options. Okay, project. Quick start. Ooh, evil beep. Did export. DB collection. Okay. Cookies. Okay, why? I think it'd be easier to put it back in with CSV or JSON. Or SQL. Anybody know SQL? Is Chrissy still here? This is another app. I don't want another app. Text collection to CSV, MongoDB, Jira server. This is 2011. Yikes. There's docs. Mongo export. It's a CSV or a CLI command. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh my god. Why? Mongo export. Okay. You do it in the CLI. Is that right? Why does it smell like... I feel like Crystal's making something, like baking something. Where does it go? If I'm already connected to the database. It's madness. Madness. It's wild. The whole point of MVC is that I won't break anything, theoretically. But if I build MVC on top of this existing project, including the model is the thing that I'm worried about. I'm worried that the model is gonna break it. For this reason, is that I don't have this code up here, but this one, I'm trying to make us Halloween's. I'm trying to make a scavenger hunt app. It's not worth explaining right now, but like I had a to-do app, and then I added the model later, and then the to-do turned into test. I don't have anything named test. It's like the model turned the to-do into test, and it didn't destroy the to-do fields. But it did rename the it. So I'm a little worried that all of these statistics that I've gathered from random people over the last month, which is like, I could pull it down manually. It wouldn't take that long. But it would be a pain. It would be a pain. And also, can you not export? What would it be? Resources, documentation, Atlas. Get started with Atlas. Manage, integrate APIs, manage, monitor, query data, interact with your data. This is Compass. That's annoying. I don't like that. I don't like that. Export your schema. Super exciting. This is so exciting to watch, I'm sure. Cloud backups, snapshot export. Might want to share the code base. No, I want to export data. Export, no. Bye, lurkin. Lurkity lurk. I really don't know why this would be hard. Seems like something people would want. Like, if you're putting things in a database, like, say you have a form to gather information for something, wouldn't you want to export that data, like, to analyze it? To run it through something else? You don't want to keep it in MongoDB. Well, I guess I am not gonna solve that one on stream. used my brain up for today. I'm hungry. I ate lunch at a normal time. And when I eat lunch at a normal time, I do not make it through stream. Well, I don't think there's any reason to stick around. Let me see if there's anybody we want to. I mean, there's only 5 people here. 5 people. Well, I was just saying I'm hungry and I'm gonna leave. Did you have a meeting? We can look at how scary this carrot is. Meetings are stupid. Oh, it's scary. When I was a college student, I loved meetings because I think I just liked having other people's undivided attention for that long. I didn't understand why adults didn't like meetings. I was so young. So young, so young. So young and so free. I mean, you can do a lot in a meeting if everybody's tuned in, but there are some meetings that do not need to happen. Alright, you know what? We're gonna raid super cool person. Pull Aaron. Pull Aaron. They are a cool person. They do game development. And they do I don't know, they're trans and they're cool and just everybody should follow them. Oh, and I can't spell. Maybe they don't let raids. I think they let raids. Yeah, maybe they have raids turned off. Alright, well, if you're here. I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it. I'm just tired and I don't want to talk to anybody. Oh, let me look at the lurk. Lurking, always be lurking. That's it. I'm not gonna do it. I can't get Aaron to work. You should all go over there though. They are cool. I don't know why it's not working for me. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. Yeah, we do. But the raid isn't working, so I guess we're just gonna go over there by ourselves. Twitch. Twitch. Ch. Ch. Twitch. Twitch. Twit. 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 I am trying to do it in Streamlabs. I'm usually capable of doing it.